gentlemen, I'm so happy to welcome you again on a platform of Insights from Inside by iGCB, yet another intriguing conversation with our business leader. I'm really happy to be joined by Syed Quader, Business Head for Canada. Syed, welcoming you to our podcast show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
You've spent over 2 decades in the technology market. And from the time when banks were so fearful about adopting technology, which I'm not sure if how the dynamics may have changed, but I think there's a lot of more receptiveness in the market today. So would you want to share some of your experiences?
Sure. I'm fortunate to run our business in Canada. And Canadian banks very much believe in technology as being a critical part of their overall strategy. They're obviously careful in the technology that they decide to put within their bank, but the willingness, the interest, the investment that's required to be at the forefront of delivering exceptional service, exceptional customer experiences, exceptional product sets for Canadian citizens and businesses has always been a part of the strategy for banks. And in fact, there are some banks that now believe that they're more fintech than bank. And so I think we're fortunate to have customers that believe in technology and are willing to invest in it.
That's great to know because I think the market is getting disrupted by a lot of new players and the paradigm has shifted, right? So how are tier one banks really coping up to it, and how do you think we are playing a role there?
So, tier one banks in Canada have the benefit of having large customer base, of having very well capitalized balance sheets, of having a risk profile that I would say is, on the whole, quite conservative. They're able to leverage kind of the high interest rate environment today to drive higher
Mm.
NIM. They generate very strong fee income as well. And so what that means is that they can make good returns for shareholders without taking excessive risk. Because if you look at the Canadian market, it's a country of about 41 million people, about 3 million SME customers. But that market has a very strong tier one set of banks. There are about 6 big banks in the Canadian market that will own about 85% of the
Wow.
country's deposits. And then you have a number of mid-tier banks. And then we have a very large and vibrant credit union space in Canada as well. And so when you look at the profile of a tier one bank in Canada, they obviously have a number of priorities and they have a number of challenges as well. First and foremost, they want to keep the deposits that customers maintain with them safe and sound,
Absolutely.
right? And so they view kind of the technology adoption patterns that they take on through that lens first and foremost. I think secondly, though, obviously there are competitive pressures. Canadian banks are looking to grow customers. They're looking to grow deposits. They're looking to expand their lending footprint, specifically within certain segments. Business banking and SME is one. They're looking to offer a broader range of products and services to their wealth customers. And certainly the biggest Canadian banks also have operations outside Canada. Many of them have operations in the US. TD, in fact, generates more money from its US operations today
Wow.
than it does in
Okay.
Canada. Scotiabank has a very global footprint. They have
Of course.
operations in Latin America. They have operations in Asia Pac as well. And so, when you look at kind of the prevailing business priorities, given some of the pressures that I mentioned, we certainly see our biggest tier one customers investing, around, for example, areas like, modernization, particularly around their payments infrastructure. That's been a big theme. As they look to extend new products and services to their customers, core banking is an interesting space in the Canadian market as they look to sort of evolve, core banking platforms that have kind of been inside the bank in some cases for 30, 40 years.
Absolutely.
Digital investments have been a huge priority, because at the end of the day, tier one banks want to deliver best in class customer experience and a set
Absolutely.
of digital products that allow them to drive stickiness for those clients. Um, and so those are some of the areas in which we also help our customers.
Hmm.
We have 10 customers in Canada, including global banks that we support, including
Oh,
tier one banks, as well as mid-tier banks and credit unions. And we support them across, their bank sort of treasury operations, across some of their payments infrastructure, some of their digital initiatives.
mhm.
And so we have a very rich set of clients and a rich set of product capabilities that are live in that market.
That's really great to know. I think that does lend us a lot of expertise and in-depth knowledge of how the market is working, how the regulations are really carving out the path for the future of banking as well, right? And any thoughts on that?
I think that regulation and compliance to regulation is obviously a very important part of what banks have to do. And there's a significant amount of investment that goes towards that. But I think beyond ticking boxes for regulatory compliance, there I think where banks are focused around is delivering customer value. And so, for example, there's been a lot of investment in the Canadian market, around modernizing payments infrastructure. But
Right.
really, but beyond having resilient and secure payments infrastructure,
Hmm.
where banks are really putting a lot of thought to is how do we now drive value for our customers from all the investments that we made. For example, can we offer insights, right, around
Right.
payments patterns? If payments are going out and they're recurring payments, then can we as a bank let clients know, in advance through alerts and
Hmm.
notifications that you have these payments coming up. And
Absolutely.
then beyond that, if there's insights, for example, around, you have these payments going out, but you may have shortfalls, as an example, and so you should know that as a client of ours. And so that's an example where banks have invested very significantly over the last few years on payments infrastructure, but now leveraging it to actually drive customer value. And so those
Absolutely.
customer stories and those customer journeys are become very important. And from an intellect standpoint, we do payments processing, for example, for a large bank in Canada on the business payment side. We
Hmm.
process over 100 million payments across the country
Wow.
for various banks on the business side. And so we were able to kind of relate to their priorities and offer examples of how they can, for example, leverage ISO or remittance data that's
Right.
intrinsic within a payment and leverage that to offer value added services to customers, whether it's around receivables or collections management. And those are the kinds of conversations that we have with our customers on an ongoing basis.
That's great. And in fact, I think you alluded towards customers' need, contextualizing, making solutions from banks more lifestyle enablers
Yeah.
rather than as it were always in the past witnessed more as facilitating and a need. I think they're more enabling right now, right? Mm-hmm.
I think when we're talking about businesses, whether they're large corporates, commercial or SME, it's really from a bank standpoint enabling the life cycle of a CFO or of a treasurer within that company. So that's
Absolutely.
really about making money, managing money, and moving
Moving
money,
money.
right?
Absolutely.
And so having the right set of capabilities, infrastructure, resilience, security, to make sure that business customers are able to move their money, manage their money,
Right.
is sort of one big priority. From a retail banking standpoint, at the end of the day, many of our customers want to be able to extend user journeys beyond just doing a bill pay,
Yes.
right? It's really about enabling the lifestyle of that retail customer or member. What I
Mm-hmm.
mean by that is, in the same way that a business customer has a life cycle, right? An individual also has a
Absolutely.
lifestyle has a life cycle
Life
as
cycle.
well. Whether it's paying for my immediate expenses or planning for the future, because I have kids that need to go to university, or planning to buy my next home. Um, I think banks really want to be able to offer recommendations, insights, next best actions to
Absolutely.
help those retail customers achieve their goals. And so, simple example of that is personal finance management. Right, the big banks in Canada already offer that as a capability. As part of my banking app, I can get alerts if I'm overspending. I
Mm-hmm.
can, I get reports on an ongoing basis on, what I've spent my money on for the month so far. I get alerts around future payments coming up. But in the credit union space, as an example, many members of credit unions don't have a mobile banking app, for example, that offers personal finance
Absolutely.
management.
And I think that's a very interesting perspective because I think as you covered, we have a great coverage for practically all the personas that exist in the Canadian banking environment today, right? And I think we are very, very steeply progressing towards creating, and in fact, we recently launched a specialized product solution for credit unions, right? So just in continuation to what you were sharing with us, how is credit union market and the needs for the members of credit unions different from the tier one, and how are you looking at really bridging that gap and providing them the right solution?
So, what I would say is that the needs of a credit union member, as they are for a retail banking customer for a big tier one bank. I
Right.
think the difference, though, is that the big banks in Canada invest in order to provide best in class capabilities to their customers. I think
Right.
in the credit union space, I think there have been some gaps that have kind of emerged in terms of the kinds of capabilities that a member within a credit union can benefit from, as opposed to sort of a retail customer for a big bank. Members of credit unions are very passionate because they are co-owners of the credit union. That's one of the big differences between credit unions and big banks. And so they're intensely loyal and they're intensely committed. And so that's why we do see credit unions thinking very carefully about their technology strategy, thinking very carefully about their product strategy, and wanting to ensure that they can also offer, in fact, best in class products and capabilities, the same as a big bank might. And so, from an intellect standpoint, we offer the benefit of being a global firm, of offering best in class capabilities. And that's not just from I can check my bank balance or I can make bill payments.
That's cliche from yesterday, right?
Right. I mean, from an intellect standpoint, we offer a range of customer journeys that really I think we want to bring to Canada or have brought to Canada that are Canada ready, so that credit unions can really extend uh, market leading functionality to their customers. And I'll give you perhaps an example of that. Credit unions are very values driven organization, and part of that is conscientiousness with what's going on from a sustainability and environmental impact standpoint. And so we've got as part of our global best in class set of capabilities on the retail digital kind of side, we have a banking app that allows customers for to offset purchases that they make towards global and environmentally conscientious
Mm-hmm.
initiatives. So
Yeah.
I buy my Starbucks coffee. We've built sort of connections with third parties. We've built connections to understand what is the social impact or the environmental impact of buying that
The carbon
Starbucks coffee.
footprints really being now available in our apps and solutions itself,
Exactly,
right?
right. And so as a credit union member, that cares about the environment, that cares about who cares about what how where my how I what is my
Absolutely.
carbon footprint, being able to offset that is a very unique capability that our digital banking platform offers in a way that's Canada ready today. And so I
Yeah,
think those are the kinds of things that credit unions will increasingly embrace
absolutely.
as part of their digital journeys for their members.
No, it's great to know about the conscious banking that we are really stepping, and banks are really receptive for some of these new technology partners, enabling them for being able to provide the conscious solutions to
Yep.
them, right? So this actually brings me to another thought that I had is, there are so many technology players, and in fact, the market leading technology players currently present, right? How do we set ourselves up, or how are we able to really differentiate and fill in the gap that no other player is able to really bridge in the market right now?
So we have a very deep commitment to the Canadian market. We've been in the Canadian market for over 10 years. We have more than 10 customers in the Canadian market across kind of global banks, across tier one banks, mid-tier banks, and credit unions. We have more than 17 implementations that
Wow,
have gone live in Canada. And
that's great.
so what
And
that
mostly
means,
tier ones?
mostly tier ones. And what that means is that we have as part of that commitment, we have a very direct and significant team of people on the ground in Canada to walk hand in hand with our customers to make sure that through the life cycle of their journey with us, that they're supported, whether that's from a sales standpoint, whether that's from an implementation standpoint, or whether that's from a post-production standpoint. So I'm very fortunate to lead a team of about 300 people,
Wow,
in support
that's
of
great.
our customers. So the commitment to Canada, the direct presence, makes a big difference. I think secondly, we have a very strong set of global capabilities across retail banking, commercial banking, corporate banking, and we've proactively invested to make sure that they're Canada ready.
Mhm.
We don't want to make our customers our guinea pigs. And so we take the time to understand the regulatory environment, as an
Absolutely.
example, from a core banking standpoint. We take time to understand, from a payment standpoint, the payment rails, whether it's Interac, whether it's bill pay, whether it's CRA payments, and make sure that those very specific Canada requirements are built into our product. Obviously, since then we've gone live with many clients
Oh,
for these capabilities. So I think being Canada ready is also a big part of our value proposition. And then I think thirdly, customers and CIOs more and more want to know not just the business capabilities that you bring to bear, but really also what's under the hood, right? It's great to have a nice car, but does the engine really work? And how
absolutely.
fast is the engine? And can I go from 0 to 60, in 2 seconds or in 10 seconds? And so I think if you look at the architecture of our solutions across our entire footprint, we really are best in class when it comes to engineering. We're really best in class when it comes to how we've put our software together. And that paradigm is what we call emoc.ai, which is a set of microservices, a set of APIs that are cloud native and in some cases headless, driven and powered also in some cases by AI, to ensure that our customers, whether they be credit unions or some of the world's biggest banks, can benefit from an architecture that is scalable, that is resilient, that is composable, and also extensible. And it's a commitment that I think matter to our customers, because at the end of the day, our customers want to be different from one another, and they can do that through our architecture by being able to compose, for example, the set of specific products that they want to deliver to their clients, or the specific branding that they want to deliver to their clients, or in fact, even in some cases, build some of their own capabilities as extensions to the base functionalities that we provide to our customers. And so, so when you look at our deep commitment, when you look at our in-country investments, when you look at the range of products that we have across retail, kind of SME, commercial, and corporate banking, and the richness of those functionalities, driven by an architecture that is truly best in class, as defined by our emoc.ai paradigm, I think Intellect is very, very well positioned to make a difference for our customers.
Absolutely, and I think just to draw out a little pun out there, you're actually are creating a lot of Michael Schumachers for the Ferrari, which is
Yeah,
ready with its strongest engine.
yeah, absolutely. I think everyone wants to drive a fast car, but I think
Absolutely.
everyone also wants to make sure that car gets to the destination. Half of many technology projects need to fail, right? They don't go live.
Right.
right? For me, I think the proudest thing for our Canadian business is that we haven't had a single program or project that a customer has signed with us
Wow.
fail, not succeed. And then I think, once they're live, we make sure that their software remains current, their software remains secure, that their software is updated and upgraded on a regular basis, because the security environment and landscape is changing. The threats that banks face change. And so I
Absolutely.
think I think when you look at sort of the totality of our record in the Canadian market, I think you can drive a fast car, but you can drive it safely, and you can get to your destination.
Absolutely. That brings in a lot of trust, especially from the banks who have large operations and cannot afford to even think of failing.
I think what I would say is that I'm very proud of the fact that as a team, across our customer sets, we actually have an NPS score of 10 out of 10
Wow. Okay.
in the Canadian market. I know that we do a great job across the world, but I think
But that's the proof
particularly,
to the matter,
but
right?
particularly in the Canadian market, we've had a very deep commitment to making sure that across sales, delivery, and support, that we do what we say. Again, sometimes it takes a bit longer, sometimes it costs a bit more money, but that's very typical in the technology industry.
True.
I think one of the benefits, certainly for our mid-tier clients and for our credit union clients, is that they benefit from the wide number of customers we have in the Canadian market. That investments that they make are not only for them, right? That they have the benefit of scale that we enjoy with our clients. If you're working with a set of customers, that helps everybody. And so we're only just growing our customer base.
Right.
We hope to, in fact, increase the number of clients that we have in Canada by two or threefold in the next 2 years,
That's
because we
great.
think that there's certain market opportunities for us to leverage.
Thank you, Syed, for a great conversation today. And thank you for staying with us till the end. And keep watching this space for a lot more intriguing, insightful conversations from leaders at iGCB. Thank you.